Welcome back to another video. I'm just returning from the beautiful island of Barbados where we spent a week in that beautiful island, and in today's video I'm going to share the 10 things that shocked me the most about Barbados. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go with 5 positive and the 5 things that the island could use some work on. So that is what I'm going to do today. 10 things that shocked me the most about Barbados. Number 1, Barbados is one of the safest countries in the Caribbean. And knowing I knew this before arriving in Barbados, but one of the things that shocked me the most is the feeling you get while you're in Barbados. And this trip, we decided not to be tourists. We wanted to blend in with locals. We wanted to get the local experience. So we took public transportation. We walked to a lot of places that was very close to us. So we pretty much blend in. Like, people think that we're Bayesian. And one of the things that was pleasantly surprising is that how safe we felt in Barbados. Just walking to the beach early in the morning. Yes, you'll see, like, in the Caribbean, there's a lot of what they call liming in the Caribbean, a lot of young guys hanging out and smoking and stuff like that. But even when passing these guys, we felt very safe. So that is number 1. One of the things that I did since I came back from the trip was to look up the stats in terms of crimes in the Caribbean. And it is very surprising because, as I said, Barbados they're not even on the top 10, the top 20 in terms of in the world, but a lot of the other Caribbean islands are in the top 20. And when you look at the list, you'll see Barbados averages, since for the past 10 years, crime have increased, but it's going from like 10 homicides per 100,000 people to 15. In contrast to some of the other Caribbean islands that are smaller or larger than Barbados. When you look at St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Kitts and Nevis is averaging like about 30 homicides per 100,000. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, they are averaging 27 to 28 homicide per 100,000. And then when you go to the bigger islands now, like Jamaica, it's like 60 per 100,000, which is blowing everyone else out of the water. And you look at Trinidad, Trinidad is in the 50s, and Guyana is also high. So I don't know what they're doing right in Barbados, but I think they need to share that with the rest of the Caribbean. So that is my first observation. That is one of the first thing that shocked me the most, was how safe Barbados was. Okay, so number 2, the second thing that shocked me the most about Barbados was the hotel industry. Based on my observation, I think that Barbados, it's safe to say, have one of the most organized hotel industry in the entire Caribbean. The only other island I can think about that I would say possibly a little bit better is Bermuda, the way how they organize tourism there. And that was pleasantly like surprising for me, because Barbados, when you talk about tourism in the Caribbean, Barbados is not one of the islands that would come up on the list. It's normally like Jamaica, Bahamas, St. Lucia. But when you look at how Barbados, how they organize their tourism, you can see that the tourism product in Barbados have an impact on the local economy more than those countries that I mentioned, Jamaica, Bahamas, and St. Lucia. Let's use Jamaica and Bahamas. Bahamas is known as like a cruise ship. I would say it's a cruise ship colony, because like hundreds of cruise ships per year. And even on one of the islands, Coco Key, I think island, Royal Caribbean owns that island in Bahamas. And when you look at Bahamas, the impact on the tourist, on the economy, is not so great, because most of the tourists, when they go to Bahamas, the profit that's coming from them being there stays with Royal Caribbean and stays with some of the other cruise ships. In Jamaica, Jamaica is about 90% all-inclusive hotel. The history of Jamaica and all-inclusive is like when you go to Jamaica, they put you on a bus and they ship you to the resort and you stay on the resort until it's time to leave. But Barbados, what is surprising about Barbados though is when you look at the hotel, it's almost like they have less all-inclusive hotel than just bed and breakfast hotel. The beauty about that is that when you go to like a bed and breakfast hotel, then it gives you more opportunity to leave the resort, to go out and to taste local food, to use up the local beaches, to take public transportation. And that is one of the things that even before, as soon as we land in Barbados and we try to get a rent a car, there was no rent a car. All the rent a cars were booked out, and that was the first sign that this is a good sign about Barbados because a lot of tourists, when you go to like a Jamaica and the Bahamas, you're not going to just rent a car and go out because you hear about the crime rate. And this is why being a safe country helps also with the tourism product. And when you go around Bahamas, like you see more tours, taking people on a bus and showing them around. Same thing in Jamaica. In Barbados, you see a lot of tourists by themselves figuring out the island. They're in the bus, public transportation, taking the bus to the beach, going to Oystins to get some fish, going to the caves, going to the historic site by themselves, whether it's on public transportation or in a rent a car. So that fuels the economy more than when you have like a bunch of all-inclusive like Jamaica or Bahamas who depends on cruise ship. So that was number two. That was the second thing that pretty much shocked me the most, how Barbados, they're very organized in tourism, but we don't hear a lot about their tourism products. So that was number two. Okay, number three, the third thing that shocked me the most about Barbados was how clean Barbados is. It's extremely clean. And living in Canada, and Canada is recognized as one of the cleanest country in the world, so we're used to walking around and not seeing a bunch of garbage on the street and people littering. And I was pleasantly surprised in Barbados is that it is very clean. How you know a country is clean is when you go to their market. So when we went on Swan Street, like you could not find a paper on the ground. And that was shocking because, as I said, like a lot of the Caribbean markets, you go and sometimes they're very smelly and sometimes there's a lot of littering going on. But that street, when you went on Swan Street, it's so colorful, so beautiful. Walking down on Swan Street, and it is very clean. And we also went into the market where the market is also clean. Walking across from the fish market in Christchurch, you don't smell the strong fish smell. And what I realized, I think St. Vincent also does it, like there are parts of the market, the fish market that's air conditioned, and they also have the fish market close to the sea, and they keep it very clean. So that is one of the things that shocked me the most, how clean Barbados was. And their garbage disposal system, it seemed like they have a first world type of system. When we went there, it was like the day before garbage disposal day. We smell a bit of odor, like garbage smell, close to where we were staying. But it's a tropical island, so when you put out garbage, it's not like in Canada where it's cold. It's not gonna smell. So that was the only thing. But in terms of clean, the streets, the markets, like everywhere was just clean. So that was number three. So clean. Okay, so number four, we're getting there. Number four, the fourth thing that shocked me the most about Barbados, I would say the beaches. The beaches are very beautiful, very beautiful. And I repeat it, like when you talk about Caribbean, a lot of times you talk about the Caribbean and people mention the beaches in Jamaica, like in Negril, the 7 Mile Beach. mentioned the beach in Cuba. There's like a 21-mile long beach in Cuba that's extremely beautiful. One of the most beautiful stretch of beach I've ever seen in my life. But Barbados, very beautiful. The water is nice and clean and beautiful. And even though it was not tourism season when we visited last week, it was right in November. They're preparing for the beginning of the season in December, and it was still so clean. The all the beaches are free, which is another good thing, that because a lot of the Caribbean islands, in particular Jamaica, you have to pay to go on public beaches, but all the beaches in Barbados free. They have nice facilities where you get to wash off. They have like lifeguards. They have changing room. They have washroom area. They have people selling on the beach. Um, Quite a few of the beaches that we've been, they have like a nice restaurant on the beach, free entry. So that was another thing that was so beautiful to see, that everyone could just go and enjoy the beach without paying an admission to go on the beach. And that was a good thing to see. So that was number four. Very beautiful beach, very clean. And one of the thing also with Barbados, also similar to Bermuda, similar to Bahamas, is like the Atlantic. A large part of the beach and the ocean there is the Atlantic, so it's not as calm as the Caribbean Sea, but still it is so beautiful. So yeah, that is number four, beautiful beaches in Barbados. So number five, the fifth thing that shocked me the most about Barbados is that Barbados is one, I would say, one of the most united island that I've ever been to. It is very united. It reminds me of Toronto, Canada, in some ways, because a lot of times you visit other islands, you go to Jamaica, you go to Bermuda, you go to Bahamas, and they are rich in their culture. But what I realize is that Barbados, it seemed like it's like the Caribbean coming together. Like, I was so surprised to be there, and we see like a lot of Jamaican restaurants. We saw a lot of Trinidadian restaurants. We saw St. Vincent flags, Vincentian people there, like doing businesses. And someone told me in the comment section that Chefette, that famous Bayesian restaurant, is owned by a Trinidadian family. So I don't know if that is correct, but that is amazing also, how united Barbados is when it comes down to the other Caribbean islands. So that was good to see. It's like you go there and like we saw like doubles, roti, like jerk chicken, like everything along with their local stuff, with their fly fish and the fish, all the different type of fish like mahi mahi, swordfish that you can get at Oystins or anywhere across the island. So that was a beautiful thing to see, that you're in Barbados, but you can taste a bit of Trini, you can taste a bit of Jamaican, you can taste a bit of Vincentian cuisine and stuff there. And that, I don't think I've seen that in any other island on that level. Like some places, most places you'll go, you'll get Jamaican food, but you might not get like a Vincentian or you know other type of food. So that was pleasant to see. So that was number five. Fifth thing that shocked me the most about the beautiful island of Barbados. Okay, so now we are at number six, and this is where number six to number 10 is where I believe that there's some improvement could be made in the island of Barbados. And number six is, it is expensive. Barbados is expensive. The Caribbean islands in general over the past 20 years have become extremely expensive just for day-to-day stuff. We're not even talking about like luxury. We're talking about day-to-day things that you put on the dinner table. So to give you an example, in Barbados, like we bought eggs, eggs, that's like basic. And a 12 carton of egg started, I think, at $10 from what we saw, and we didn't go to one of those expensive, like I think Massey is one of the more expensive grocery store. We went to a regular store, and it started at 10, and that's like $5. So that's about 50% more than you'd pay for stuff in the US and in Canada. And another thing, like say like Eggo waffles, like those type of stuff. I think I saw for we purchased for what, $18, $18, and that would be like $9 US. In Canada, that would cost us about 4 Canadian dollars, and in the US, it would cost roughly about 350 for a box of Eggo waffle. Those small boxes where you have buttermilk Eggo waffles, and it's like eight pieces. And that was $9 there. So just a rough example of things there. And what I realized is that not only in Barbados, but we saw it in St. Vincent, the same thing in Jamaica. The things that are produced in the Caribbean, you will get cheaper, like a Grace product, you will get it a bit cheaper, like a Lasco product, like the popular products, Eve, that's Eve products, those products that are made in the Caribbean, it is cheaper. But what I'm realizing is that most of the islands now, we are pretty much getting probably about 50 to 60% of some of the basic food items that go on your table coming from the US, which drives up the food price like really high. So yeah, number 6, very expensive. And that's one of the things that surprised me the most about my time in Barbados. Okay, so number seven is public transportation. Oh my God. Like, I thought this was because I grew up in Jamaica with the same type of system, the bus system, like the drivers that hustle. And, you're driving in these minibus, and it's like you're driving to your own funeral. That's how fast they're going. Like you're driving to your own death. So I was very surprised because, and I don't know if I should have been surprised, because what I'm realizing now that it seemed to be a Caribbean thing. And I know in New York also, where they have the dollar, what they call a dollar van back in the days, was the same kind of concept. So as I said, we did not get a rent a car this time because when we came in, all the cars were gone. So we decided to, you know what, the kids need to feel how it feel like public transportation, because they have not really gotten that feeling of being in a public transportation at home, because we drive them everywhere. So we took the public bus, and like it's something that I grew up, so I was a bit, it wasn't surprising to me, but the looks on the kids' face and my wife, that is something that she's experiencing for the first time too. The bus, they were going so fast, and they were stuffing the bus like a sardine. And another thing, the loud expletive music, very expletive, like it's almost like I would describe it as audio pornography. Like, and I'm there in the bus, in the back of the bus, praying that I hope the kids, they don't understand this, because it's like a local dialect, like patois type of dialect. So I'm hoping that they don't understand what is going on. Like this thing would fly over their head because of the local dialect. Like there was a part in the song, like one of the song that was playing, like this guy was saying the girl was hypnotized by my D, and just a bunch of stuff. And I'm like, it is sad, because as a child growing up in Jamaica, the same thing, and you would see the guys, the conductors and the driver, like, they're fooling around with these schoolgirls coming from school. Like the bus will stop, and they'll look for the pretty schoolgirl and put her in the front of the bus, and all the type of stuff. They'll hang off the bus and be talking to these young girls coming from school. So I was a bit surprised to see that there in Barbados, because as I said, I know growing up in Jamaica like 20, 30 years ago, like that is something that I know that we kind of were struggling with for years, and no matter how they try to regulate it, it's like unsuccessfully. So I was very shocked to see that in Barbados, and as I said, we observed the same thing in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So I don't know. Hopefully, someone in the comment section said that the Barbados government, is trying to do something to regulate the bus system there. So hopefully they can do something about that. But that was very surprising. Okay, so number 8. The number 8 thing that shocked me the most about being in Barbados is the rum shop. And I don't know if I should have been surprised, because what I have realized now, traveling the Caribbean, it's like I know Barbados is the home of rum, and I know Jamaica came in second with, Barbados with the Mount Gay, Jamaica, Appleton. And what I've realized traveling the Caribbean is that rum is a big thing in the Caribbean. Like alcoholism is a big thing in the Caribbean. So I don't know if I should have been surprised, but the amount of rum shops, like you'll see, just traveling the street, as they have the saying, like for every church, there's 2 rum shops. And that was kind of interesting. And now it's kind of sending a light bulb moment off in my head that this is a Caribbean thing, because I lived in Bermuda, and Bermuda did not have as much bars or rum shop like you see in St. Vincent, like what I've experienced in Barbados and what you see in Jamaica. But in Bermuda, they also drink a lot of rum. Like it's like a national pastime drinking rum. So I'm coming to realize now that rum is just a Caribbean thing. And I don't know if I should have been as shocked as I was, but rum shop in Barbados, it is a thing. So yeah, so that was number 8, the rum shops in Barbados. For every 1 church, 2 rum shop. Okay, so number 9. So the ninth thing that shocked me the most about my time in Barbados is minimum wage. So going around and having conversation like with taxi drivers and just people in general, what I was told is that the minimum wage was like $8, 8 Bajan dollars. You can correct me in the comment section if that's incorrect, but that's what I was told. And when you do the calculation, there's no way, like it's almost impossible to survive on that type of income. So that was one of the things that shocked me the most, that the minimum wage is that low, because I was very impressed with the strength of the Bajan dollar being like 2 to 1 US, as being one of the strongest currency in the Caribbean. So my thought process was like, because living in Bermuda also, spent 7 years in Bermuda, the Bermudan dollar was strong. It was 1 to 1 with the US, and the minimum wage was pretty much comparable or even better than what you would get in most of the states in America or what you'd get in Canada. So my thought process was like, since the Bajan dollar is so strong, they would have like a higher minimum wage because the dollar is good. But that's what I was told. Minimum wage $8, and yeah, that you can't get much with that. So either a lot of people in Barbados, they're not living from minimum wage. I don't know, like if the people that work at a fast food restaurant or the stores, if that is what they would take home. But $8, 8 Bajan dollars an hour, you can't survive on that in such a beautiful island. So yep. So that was shocking to me, the minimum wage. Okay, so finally, number 10. So the number 10, the 10th thing that shocked me the most about my time in Barbados is distribution of wealth. Like that was one of the things that was, and as I said about other things, I don't know if it should have been shocking, because it seemed to be a common thing in the Caribbean, and in some cases, or in for most cases, in Africa. So that was shocking to me. So for example, like when we go on Swan Street, when you're walking that nice, clean, beautiful street, one of the best marketplace that I've seen in the Caribbean, when you look at the people that are selling on Swan Street, they represent the black population of Barbados. That's, black African descendants are majority in that country. And those are the people that you'll see on the street selling their goods. When you go into the market, that's a representation. Also in the food market, in the fish market, it's also a representation. But when you go on Swan Street and you go into the stores, inside the stores, there are people speaking in like different language. Like there are people from Pakistan, there are people from India, there are people from China, and it just mind blowing to me that in the Caribbean, after so many years of being independent, the people that pretty much comes into the Caribbean and own the stores that makes majority of the money in these Caribbean islands are not descendants of slave in the Caribbean. It's a different representation. There are people, as I said, there are people speaking different language there, so they were not born there. So that was one of the things that was a bit disheartening to me, that after hundreds of years in the Caribbean and fight to keep the Caribbean and overcome slavery and everything, that the wealth distribution in Barbados pretty much reflect what is going on in most Caribbean islands. A lot of the hotels, I know of about, there's this one lady, a local Bayesian that owns two hotels. I know, like with Airbnb, there are a lot of locals that own and make money from Airbnb, but a lot of the bigger hotels and a lot of the more established business are not owned by local Bayesians. So that was one of the things that shocked me the most about my time in Barbados. So guys, if there was anything that I could have added to this video, just please feel free to share it in the comment section. If you disagree with any of my findings, like while visiting Barbados, also feel free to leave it in the comment section. I'm willing to learn from this experience, because that's what I aim to do, to go to all the Caribbean islands, whether it's West Indian islands, whether it's French, whether it's Dutch, and to learn more about the Caribbean and to spread knowledge across my platform so that people can learn more about the Caribbean. So feel free to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing content. And remember, peace. I'm out.